The Game of the Year Awards is one of the most iconic names in the video game industry. Since 2014, gamers have been voting and selecting games that have been released in the past year and picking one winner. And usually it gets pretty spicy, and it always comes down to the big two heavy hitter games. And today I'm going to be picking my Game of the Year choice from 2014 to 2022 and seeing if I overall agree with the picks that have been chosen for each year. Here's some context before I start. I will only be choosing my Game of the Year choice from the 5 or 6 games that were nominated from that year. And I also will only be really talking about those 2 games. For example, in 2018, God of War won. And if I wanted Spider-Man to win, then I would only really be talking about God of War and Spider-Man. I wouldn't really be talking about Red Dead or Monster Hunter. I would just be sticking to the game that I think should have won, or the game that did win. So without further ado, let's get in. So, there's a bit of a problem with this year, and it's that I haven't played any of the games that were nominated for Game of the Year. So I'll just be giving it to the greatest game of 2014, which was Shovel Knight, so I literally just laid down the ground rules and I'm already breaking them. The Witcher 3 is by far Project Red's best release, and it was sold over 50 million copies. This is the Game of the Year because of its epic gameplay, beautiful world, fun built-in card game, and story-changing, deep-rooted decisions that you, the player, must make. And, the action, by the way, the video that I blurred was Thanos dancing. I wasn't actually showing anything. I could 100% see why this was the winner that was chosen. Well, I mean, I could definitely see why it's true. I can for sure see why it's many others' picks for the Game of the Year, but for me, there is only one true winner for 2015. Bloodborne. This, Elden Ring, and Dark Souls 3 are the 3 fan favorite From Software games. But to me, they all don't even compare to this absolute masterpiece that is Bloodborne. Bloodborne is my pick for its perfectly crafted combat, phenomenal design, tragic but beautiful story, and its amazing dialogue.
Oh my, what a quiescent.
Each and every boss has such a fun but stressful feel to it, and of course its gothic horror-esque vibe, which perfectly matches with the 10 out of 10 soundtrack. All jokes aside, this is one of the greatest games of all time. I 100% I demand you play this game right now. The 2016 Game of the Year was Overwatch, the fantastic multiplayer FPS that has an insane diverse cast of well-designed and very fun characters. The voice clips, cosmetics, and plays of the game are what makes this game feel alive and extremely fun. If I had to pick a multiplayer game for me and the boys to play, I would 100% pick Overwatch every time. But Overwatch just isn't as exceptional as this game. And my gosh, is it a good ending. Uncharted 4 is my pick for the Game of the Year because of its astonishing gameplay and graphics. The gameplay is extremely fun and well done, and is undoubtedly the best out of any Naughty Dog game. It is truly the little details with this game, like the movie-like cutscenes, the different animations for the different things that you're climbing on, and oh my gosh, the game looks so good. It is a great ending for one of the greatest franchises in gaming history. "2017 was Nintendo's massive clapback from the horrible Wii U era, and that clapback includes 2 of the greatest Nintendo games. And the Game of the Year that was voted was the phenomenal Breath of the Wild, the first main story Zelda game in 4 years, and it did not disappoint. This is most likely the greatest open world game of all time and has so much meat to it. The stressful fun fighting, the overwhelmingly massive open world, and the armor and weapon system. Those are all the things that make this game the Game Awards pick for Game of the Year. However, this is not Game of the Year. Mario Odyssey is the second heavy-hitting Nintendo game in 2017 and is, in my opinion, without a doubt the best one. Mario Odyssey has some of the most fun mechanics in video games. Each and every single world has such special, amazing design and is near-perfect music to match the worlds. It is such a fun and happy game, and without a doubt is top 3 Mario games of all time. However, this is not the game of the year. Persona 5 is one of the greatest games ever made and is my pick for 2017's Game of the Year. The smooth jazz, funky, and emotional music, with the chill lo-fi design of the world, and the fun and masterfully crafted fighting mechanics are what makes this game one of the greats. But on top of all that, we have an absolutely amazing story that is definitely one of my favorites ever. The insanely long runtime of this game gives you lots of time to marinate with all the different characters, which makes the end of the game as emotional as it can be. This is my favorite game of all time, and I couldn't recommend it more. However, this is not the game of the year. God of War 2018 was a huge development arc for the legendary Kratos, who went from an angry, vengeful killer to a tame father who's embarking on a journey with his son to honor his wife's dying wishes. This game's soundtrack, world design, and beautiful story is why it won Game of the Year, and in my opinion has some of the best fights in video games. However, in my opinion, it does not compare to the peak of fiction that is Red Dead Redemption 2. This game is so good. It has the insane combo of having one of the best stories in video games, while also having one of the best open worlds in video games. The story of redemption that Arthur Morgan goes through in this game is beautiful, tragic, epic, funny, and powerful. And in between, you have an insanely huge world that is as beautiful as it is scary. And it is so vast that people are still finding new things in 2023. If you have never played this game, play it. If you are playing it for the story, you will be satisfied. And if you are playing it for the open world, you will be satisfied. Well, for the first time, I actually agree with the Game Awards on this one. I do think Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice is the game of the year. This is one of my favorite From Software games, and it's one of the best for its extremely satisfying sword fighting, interesting world, and absolutely nuts fights. I would say that if Sekiro weren't on this list, I would 100% give it to Resident Evil 2, which is such a well-crafted remake, and is definitely one of the best. Oh boy, here we go. The Last of Us 2 was a great game. The world, music, and taste that this game leaves you with is depressing. And that's exactly what our main character, Ellie, is going through. It makes us fall in love with certain characters so easily, and then it so easily takes them away. But it definitely has its problems. The first Last of Us asked us so many bottomlessly deep questions that put us in almost a euphoric state. After you're done with the game, it's a feeling you can't describe with words. And it only takes 10 hours to do that to us. The Last of Us Part 2 has a 22-hour runtime asking one methodical question, and that's about revenge. It's such a long and draining game that it comes to an end that everyone expected, and that is why it isn't my choice. Ghost of Tsushima is such a beautiful game. A journey of Jin Sakai and his battles against his morals, traitors, and the invading Mongol army. it has a drop-dead gorgeous map with so many missions and mini-games throughout, with such a great ending to the story that I still frequently think about it. This game is so fun, and I for sure recommend it. Once again, another year that I agree with the Game Award victor, which was It Takes Two. This game's mechanics and style are what makes it such a solid game, and is definitely why it won Game of the Year. It's a solid gear, but it doesn't have too many drop-dead, greatest games of all time. Metroid Dread and Resident Evil Village were great, but It Takes Two still does sit on top, but trust me, if there was a game like Red Dead or God of War, it would not even come close. This year was pretty controversial, and it was between the two heavy hitters, Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok. Now, I do agree that Elden Ring is the game of the year for 2022, but let's talk about Ragnarok. Ragnarok has an extremely good story with plot twists and lots of character development for nearly every single character. However, the Elden Ring gameplay is unbeaten. It took everything that was great about the previous From Software games, not that one, and pumped it out, making this fluid, clean, and promising open-world masterpiece that has left its mark on the industry. Ragnarok was great, but this was the undoubted Game of the Year for 2022. Well, I guess that's it. I definitely disagree more than I agree with the awards, but I respect the outcomes either way. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I want to know what you guys think. I didn't really feel like waiting till the end of the year to make this video, but so far we got some pretty heavy hitters coming out this year, and I think Tears of the Kingdom will win. A lot of people are saying Spider-Man, a lot of people are even saying RE4, but I think Breath of the Wild will take this one. Anyways, thank you guys for stopping in and checking out the video. I'll see you in the next.